Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. Taking a look at the satellite imagery today, here's the cloud mass that brought the snow to the area. Mixed rain and snow here out along the coast to some areas of just rain. This area spreading some snow into Yakutat. As you can see, the whole surge of moisture moving eastward there. And there is a winter weather advisory out for the coastal areas, including Yakutat. 2 to 4 inches of snow tonight, and moisture gathering off the coast of the Panhandle. Winter storm warnings in effect for, well, anywhere from Haines, Juneau, all the way down the inside waters of the southeast coast, and other areas have snow advisories, but those are winter storm warnings out for the snow that's going to move in. Anywhere from 8 to 12 inches possible there in that Juneau and Admiralty Island area. This upper level trough associated with that moisture extending back to the northwest, some areas of light snow all the way up to the Brooks Range there, and also off to the east, drying out behind the trough there, but still a lot of clouds and some scattered flurries and snow showers. But high pressure here in advance of this next system, bringing the wind and rain into the Aleutians, and a good push of warm air will be coming northward with a warm front tonight and tomorrow. You can see the back edge of the main front there already coming down or bearing down on AKwx with a lot of rain spreading northeastward, still just to the west and southwest of the Pribilofs, the main rain band right through here where that's the heaviest, and also with the strongest winds. Winds also be kicking into the northwest, gale force winds, at least 40 knots from the west-northwest. And they'll probably be holding through Monday the way it looks right now. Otherwise, up along the Arctic coast, pretty quiet there, just some areas of light snow, mostly in over the north slope and back to the Brooks Range, and near just a little below zero along the eastern Arctic coast today with variable clouds. And there were a few flurries here and there, but that was mostly over the inland areas. We've got this couple of lows here in the Gulf of Alaska, one just east of Kodiak Island, another one developing there south of Yakutat. That's what's going to bring the snow into the area tonight. 2 to 4 inches around Yakutat, much heavier amounts in the forecast for the northern southeast coast there. And again, all this moisture overrunning the colder air that's been in over the area will be producing the snow, resulting in the winter storm warnings in the remainder of the areas there. It's also trough back through here, giving the clouds and light snow in that area. The heavier snow here is to sit in the valley down into south central Alaska, and that'll be moving eastward. Today spreading northeastward, but just flurries there across the Tanana Valley on up into the Yukon. A little bit more heavier snowfall, but not real heavy, occurring back up there over the Brooks Range and west of the Koyukuk Valley, back up to the western Arctic coast there. And then there's that break in advance of actually a couple of bands, one right through here, mostly mid and high level clouds, a little bit lower stuff in crossing the Pribilofs, extending down to the Alaska Peninsula. Then you get into the rain here, and then eventually the wind, and there's that warm front that'll be pushing northward. Take a look at tonight. You can see quite a south to north flow here, especially in advance of the front. So gale force winds out, gusts 50 to 60 miles an hour. Ahead of the front there, moving into the eastern Aleutians and eventually the Pribilof Islands. Look for snow to push into the Nunivak Island area. Not quite be watching this low, trying to exit the area there. So St. Lawrence Island won't be too bad overnight tonight as this area light snow continues to pull northward there, but that'll keep the western Seward Peninsula in occasional off and on condition with possible IFR there. Breaking out here over the southwest part of the state, but still some lingering areas of light snow from the northern Sitna Valley right up into the Denali Park area, and then northeastward through the central Tanana Valley on up toward anywhere from northwest of Eagle. But another break here, Koyukuk Valley, and still some light snow going on, or flurries here over the Brooks Range, mostly on the north side of the mountains there, over the north slope. High pressure making for lighter winds there, and partly cloudy skies for the Arctic coast, mostly dry. But tomorrow we'll see this front will be moving eastward, while tonight this one spreads a lot of moisture in. Already seen that light snow showing up along the central coast even there, and that'll continue to increase this evening, overnight tonight, and pretty good area of snowfall now, and that'll be a little longer to push into the southern areas because of this huge area of high pressure over British Columbia, but it'll eventually work into the zone there. And rain behind the cold front tomorrow be the changeover with the southerly winds. Should at least lift the snowfall levels up to 1,001 to 2,000 feet here down over the southern areas. A little longer up there to the north, get more of a mixed precipitation to just snow over the northern areas, and that'll extend back but begin to diminish around Yakutat. And looks pretty good here, just a few clouds. Won't be totally clear over south central Alaska, Prince William Sound, but definitely a lot drier than today, with the most of the snow now off to the east, or whatever's left up here to the north from the Alaska Range and through the Tanana Valley back to the southwest, and still some areas of light snow back to the northwest, as well as the Seward Peninsula and mainly the western Arctic coast. There's a freezing rain warning, or a winter weather warning out for freezing rain for the Yukon Delta tomorrow night, and probably into Monday. That'll start out as snow but begin to change over here in this pink area. Could see some freezing rain with that. Shouldn't be much of a problem here for the Kuskokwim Delta. Definitely won't be for Bristol Bay or the Alaska Peninsula. Just gale force winds, again, gusts 40 to 60 miles an hour. Rain heavy at times from Unalaska up to Falls Pass, and looks like some rain should make it all the way up to King Salmon there. High pressure though for light winds across Kodiak Island, but still some moisture coming up and then sliding northeastward there. Brings a chance of rain into the southwest part of the island, but definitely rain heavy at times all the way back to the Pribilofs. Main cold front right through here now, and winds swing around to the northwest, pick up quite markedly here, and temperatures will be dropping as that colder air comes down from the northwest out of the Russian Far East. So rain showers begin to mix with snow and should change over to all snow as the snow levels crash here out over the far western Aleutians. And then for Monday, the system sliding off to the east keeps a chance of snow over the southern areas, or rain and snow mix, say for Klawock, Craig, and Heidelberg. But lighter winds, high pressure, and a little cooler temperatures back into the northern areas with some clearing, possible sunshine here, and variable clouds to the North Gulf Coast. And then we'll see this front driving eastward with a pretty good west-northwest jet there. Rain into Kodiak Island, and this warm front should spread some rain up to the North Gulf Coast. Kind of a mixed precipitation event going on here from turning an arm back across the Cook Inlet area, but kind of a Chinook wind type of situation going on here. So wouldn't look for a lot of moisture along the lee side of the mountainous areas here, but a few flurries possible from the Talkeetnas on up to the Alaska Range. Areas of light snow over the west and southwest interior, then the band of precipitation, again, mostly in the form of rain, changing to showers here back across the Alaska Peninsula. Snow or freezing rain or snow, or both, a mixture of here. Should stay mostly snow there for St. Lawrence Island, east-southeast winds, a little gusty though. And then the strong gale force westerlies here, southwest 25 to 35 knots with rain showers mixing with snow throughout the day on Monday as that colder air spreads eastward, but mixed rain and snow showers with pretty good northwest winds. In fact, could be close to storm force winds here back out over the southwest Bering Sea to the western Aleutian areas there, and snow levels will be almost down to sea level there. You can see it pulling the cold air out of the Russian Far East here, where it's mostly snow up in that area and back to the east. Not too bad here over the north central part of the state, over to the 40-mile country, Eagle all the way down across the Copper River Basin. Clear and dry and kind of chilly on the temperatures, but not too bad. And again, winds probably back around to the north there for Lynn Canal, but it doesn't look like they'll be all that strong at all. Maybe 20 knots from the northwest as this pulls off and moves inland across the Queen Charlottes. Otherwise, wind should be pretty light, but southeasterly winds on the increase here. I don't think they'll reach gale force, possibly in advance of that front there, but could start getting a little gusty places like Turnagain Arm and the passes of the western Alaska Range like Sparrowvon could see gusts to 30-35 miles an hour Monday afternoon. And temperatures today mostly in the 20s to lower to mid 30s here for the southeast coast, 34 at Sitka, as well as Klawock, and a 27 over at Cordova, 36 in Homer, Kodiak up to 41 degrees today. Had some showers mostly on the west side of the island. Mid-20s for Cook Inlet, 19 degrees Talkeetna, near zero there for the Copper River Basin, with right at zero for Gulkana, 5 degrees for Delta, Fairbanks up to 12, 8 degrees Nenana, 5 degrees over at Tanana, and there's a -4 at Eagle, while Eagle Fort Yukon was 11 below, -8 at Arctic Village, and a 2-degree reading over at Kaktovik. Either side of zero here along much of the Arctic coast. Cape Lismore up to 22 degrees, 21 at Kotzebue. There's a 31 at Tin City and Nome. Also here at St. Michael with 30 degrees at Amonic. St. Mary's 33 today, while McGrath 15. 32 at Bethel, and a 34 at Tooksuk Bay, 36 out at Gamble on St. Lawrence Island. Pribilof, Will St. Paul, and St. George at 4 p.m. had a temperature of 39 degrees. Unalaska 42, and there's a 45 at Adak with 38 out at Shimia. Alaska Peninsula mostly in the upper 30s to lower 40s, 42 at Unalaska. For the lows tonight, coldest here over the northeast as it has been, also the North Slope with temperatures down in the 20 to 30 below zero range, otherwise 20 to 30 above zero to above freezing here right along the coastline. 30s to lower 40s, quite mild here for the Aleutians and the Alaska Peninsula. Colder teens and 20s for the southeast coast. And for the highs tomorrow, mid-20s here over the northern areas, and then gradually warming up to near 40 along the coast from, say, Sitka southward across Prince of Wales Island, and that should begin to change the precipitation over to rain. Otherwise, upper 30s Kodiak Island, lower 40s for the Alaska Peninsula. Flying weather, look for IFR here, especially over the southern southeast coast, areas of sitting off the coast over the eastern Gulf of Alaska. Marginal VFR kind of hit and miss here over the northern areas, but definitely tonight and into tomorrow there will be some IFR. And then pretty good here, conditions clearing out, good VFR for Prince William Sound down to Kodiak, Cook Inlet, right up into the interior, along and north of the Alaska Range. Conditions will be lowest in the morning for the central Alaska Range there, and then gradually improving even over the interior. Lower conditions in the northwest and coast, of course, a lot of marginal VFR and IFR with the front there along the Alaska Peninsula and southwest coast. And for passes, Anaktuvik, marginal VFR in the pass and to the north. Highest, better conditions will be to the south. Adigan, same forecast, marginal VFR, looking VFR in the southern entrance. Lake Clark and Merrill, good VFR tomorrow, rainy, same forecast. And windy, marginal VFR becoming VFR, probably by late morning, if not sooner. And for Isabel, VFR, Montesta, VFR, and Tanita, all VFR, and even Portage VFR. Moving over to Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR could become better in the afternoon. For the freezing levels here at the surface, right along the coastline tomorrow and then down the Panhandle, that'll be tending to pull back up to the north during the afternoon hours, but the big push of warm air here out to the west from the Pacific right up into the Bering Sea here with those strong southerly winds ahead of the front and associated with the warm front. And looking at the icing threats, go along with that, occasional moderate rime icing here, Alaska Peninsula, areas of southwest coast, anywhere from 10 to 14,000 feet, and then lower back here to the west in the colder air. And the southeast coast looks like the heaviest icing threats will be over the southern areas, but some of that will extend up to the north as well. Wind flow chart showing high pressure aloft building into the southwest interior, good south to north flow coming into the Bering Sea, and then they kind of combine with the Arctic jet here, and got a wind max right over Cook Inlet tomorrow from the northwest at 120 knots. This at 30,000 feet or 33,000 feet, 9,000 foot winds. showing this low pulling into the southeast coast. Northwest winds 30 knots there to the west and lighter under high pressure over the interior. Westerlies 25 to 35 knots over the eastern Arctic coast. Strong south winds 40 to 50 knots across the Alaska Peninsula, southeast Bering Sea, and northwesterlies following that front in behind over the southwest Bering and western Aleutians. Same pattern at 3,000 feet, 50 to 55 knot winds ahead of that front across the peninsula and up toward Togiak Bay, and lighter winds over the interior, and most of the strong winds back out to the west and undercutting the panhandle, and northwesterlies at 40 knots here for the central and western Aleutians. Turbulence, occasional moderate chop, southern southeast coast, maybe up to the north there, eastern Arctic coast, severe possible in Nunivak Island, back out to south of St. Lawrence Island with moderate chop here southward across the Alaska Peninsula, and more back out to the west. After the break, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
Okay, go ahead. I'll get my
Get overboard on the starboard! Don't take your eye off of him! I'll get the signal fall! Still got him in sight? Okay! Where'd he go? Still got him! Okay! Hold on! Okay. Get the line on as soon as you can! He's got something to hold on to. Okay, a little more to starboard. Okay. Hard starboard. How you doing, Hank? Okay? Good, good. Okay, give him a hand there. Come in line. Go to line again. Line out there. Okay, throw. Let me know when you got the line up. Hydraulics going on. Okay. 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 All right. Yeah, we got it. Coming up. Got it.
People who live in the north, who live, work, and play on or near cold water or in cold weather, should be ready to deal with hypothermia. To know what it is, know how to prevent it, how to recognize it, and how to treat it.
Whether you realize it or not, most of us have been hypothermic at one time or another. When was the last time you shivered from the cold? Did it take hours or just a few minutes? Hypothermia can develop slowly or very quickly.
Hypothermia is an injury that is just beginning to be understood by modern scientists. Hypothermia is the lowering of the body core temperature. The core is the critical inner portion of the body, including the heart, brain, and lungs. The core is where life remains if there is any chance for survival.
Before you can understand hypothermia, you need to know that the circulatory system controls the body temperature much like a hot water heating system does in a home. When the arms or legs get cold, the core sends warm blood out to rewarm them. The core can't afford to send out more warm blood without cooling itself. It then reduces blood flow to these areas in order to minimize its own heat loss. However, if too much heat is lost from the body, it will die. We can prevent hypothermia in two ways: by adding heat or by making our shelter more efficient to prevent the loss of body heat. Clothes are our most efficient shelter to protect our body from the environment. If our clothing is adequate, our body core temperature can be maintained by body heat alone and not require another heat source. If our clothing is inadequate, we add a little water, a little wind. You can see how dangerously cold people can get.
The main areas of the body to protect from heat loss are the head, neck, armpits, sides, and groin, because they are the areas of greatest heat loss. The old saying to cover your head when your feet get cold makes a lot of sense if you know that over half of the body heat loss is through the head. You know, it's really sad that people spend hundreds of dollars on recreational gear, but only a fraction of that on adequate clothing. Clothing that could protect them from a dangerous and common killer, cold. The best prevention for hypothermia is to stay dry. If you're wet, get dry. If you're in the water, get out, or at least get as much of your body out as possible. Water will rob the body's heat 25 times faster than air at the same temperature. If you're in the water without a survival suit, to slow heat loss, keep the head and neck out of the water. The best way to do that is to wear some type of protective flotation device or lifesaver that keeps the head and neck up. Another important posture protects the groin and armpits from cold water circulation. This is the heat escape lessening posture called the help position. For a group, a good posture is to huddle. It protects the armpits and groin and keeps non-flowing water in the center, which increases survival time. A posture to avoid is one called drown-proofing. This is where you put your hands behind your back, you deep breathe, and you bob underwater. This will work in warm water. In these cold Alaska waters, it won't work any time of the year. You actually lose body heat faster because your neck and your head is underwater. You can also keep more of your body out of the water by clinging to something. Another person, a part of the boat, a log, even a floating dead friend. He can save your life. If help is close by, don't swim. It will reduce your survival time in cold water. Each stroke you swim circulates cold water around your body. Your ability to swim becomes less each time you stroke. In midwinter 30 to 33 degree water, it's doubtful that a person could swim more than 50 feet.
Okay, take him in. Get those clothes off him.
How do you recognize that someone is hypothermic? The symptoms of hypothermia include feeling cold, shivering, the loss of coordination, slurred or unusual speech, confusion, impaired judgment, and near the end, feelings of warmth and euphoria, sort of a natural high. In time, the person becomes unconscious. The heart beats erratically, resulting in death by what appears to be a heart attack. In the field, you don't have a means of measuring body core temperature and other vital signs. You cannot rely on symptoms alone to decide how severe the case of hypothermia is. For example, some people don't shiver, and also the victim may not believe he has hypothermia. If a person is improperly sheltered from cold or wet conditions, and he might be hypothermic, it makes good sense to treat him for hypothermia.
Hey, Red, give me a hand.
Welcome back. Well, gales are possible over the southern inside waters in Lynn Canal area tomorrow. Otherwise, kind of variable to east or southeast, 20 to 30 knots, southwest 25, and then southeast 25 to 30 up the coastline. And then for Monday, that whole system pushes off to the southeast there. So easterlies at 15 over the southern inside waters, maybe up to 20 at times with some higher gusts there over the central areas. Small craft advisories, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay. And lighter winds out here along the coast could start out 20, 22 knots here as that low pulls off to the east, but lighter winds up to the north and more variable. For Cook Inlet, northeast at 10 tomorrow. From the forelands on down, north to northwest, only 10 knots, so those could pick up 25 knots here for the North Gulf Coast all the way back down across the Barren Islands, but becoming light and variable, Shelikof Strait, and northeast 15 for Prince William Sound. And the outlook for Monday, east winds at about 15 for the North Gulf Coast, northeast Prince William Sound, northeasterlies all through Cook Inlet, picking up 20 knots, and look for some higher gusts to begin to show up, turning an arm, possibly as high as 35 knots by the afternoon. And easterlies 20 for the Barren Islands, small craft advisories there for Kodiak Island, but lighter winds in Shelikof Strait. And for the southwest of Kodiak, southwest at 15, southeast 15 Bristol Bay, and southerlies at 30 knots on the Pacific side of the peninsula, probably picking up to gale force southeasterlies there for the Bering Sea side. And then west and southwest gales for the peninsula in the forecast for Monday. South 30 knots there from Sitkinak over to about Chignik here, and then southeasterlies for Bristol Bay up to 30 knots with 12-foot seas. And in the Aleutians, small craft advisories for the eastern areas here and even the central Aleutians, but gale force west-northwesterlies will be following that front and behind 40 knots here over the western areas, and that'll spread eastward and include Adak and Atka from the west on Monday. Northwesterlies 40 to 45 knots. Again, possible storm force winds out here. Otherwise, small craft advisories on Alaska Island could see 35-knot winds. Gales tomorrow along the southwest coast and the northern Bering Sea. Otherwise, small craft advisories either side. And then for Monday, northeasterlies 25 to 30 knots, St. Lawrence Island into the Bering Sea. Small craft advisories for the southwest coast and some pretty brisk westerlies breaking into the Pribilofs. West 20 to 25 knots, higher gusts, especially early on there on the eastern Arctic coast. Lighter winds back to the west. And the outlook for Monday, northeast 25 here for the western areas, and now much lighter on the eastern part of the coast. For tonight, winter storm warnings over a good portion of the southeast coast there for 8 to 12 inches of snow. Storm total after this moves through. Diminishing snow and clearing skies, south central Alaska, flurries over the interior, strong winds, gale force winds and rain, and warmer temperatures pushing into the Bering Sea, and also on Monday. Have a great evening.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.